Respect, on behalf of Uganda, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for the good heart and love you have managed to extend to all delegates that have been here. I want to thank you in full swing. Thank you and thank you. Mr. Chairman, as per the topic, privileges, immunities, to me, in simplicity, these are peculiar rights, the favors, the advantages that are given to us, we parliamentarians. Are they relevant? That is your question. To me, yes, they are relevant. Do we enjoy them? Yes. Do we use them properly? To me, yes. Mr. Chairman, I would love to take you back to Uganda. How do we use them? At a parliamentary level, we have a number of committees. At a committee level sittings, we use them. We are protected. We are shielded. We have all the rights and the powers not to fear or favor any person from the executive. If you have any issue that is burning you, you are free and protected to ensure that that person who received government funds, how he used them, how he executed his work, are the results felt on ground? Can you easily touch? Can you easily see them? You as a member of parliament, you have to use all the rights, all the powers given to you to ensure that that person is checked properly. Mr. Chairman, we have an experience in Uganda where we introduced the system of Baraza. The Baraza system has helped us as members of parliament. We have the powers and the chances to call the minister in charge, the permanent secretary, chief administrative officer, to ensure that the money that has been given to him is well protected and executed on ground in the process of giving the accountability to the wananchi. Mr. Chairman, we as members of parliament, if you have an issue as a member of parliament, you are free even to question or to fire a big question to a member of parliament who is even a soldier, much as is highly pipped or much as is highly ranked, but you have a right to question how he used that money on behalf of wananchi. I want to take this opportunity once again to thank you for the good motion. Thank you.
Any other contribution? Yes, honorable member there. Your names, the country you're representing, for record purposes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. My name is Alberto Nikis from Mozambique. Mr. Chairperson of this session, Honorable Musa, move of this topic, all protocol observed. I thank you for choosing this topic as it is a current issue in our country due to the fact that some voices in the society believe that members of parliament immunities are not necessary. In fact, they believe that this immunity should not exist. However, we believe that it is important that members of parliament have immunity due to their political position and the process of democratic growth in Africa. If they did not have immunity, there would be great risk to the performance of their duties, especially in situations where political consistency is not peaceful. In other words, we want to support the relevance of the parliamentary immunities, power and privilege, so we extend our congratulations to the mover of this topic. Distinguished honorable speakers and members of Parliament, we listened carefully to the topic when you introduced the subject of powers and controversial issues of Parliament privileges. The Mozambican Parliament has debated this issue and privilege, and these debates are in public. However, this form of openness so that our citizens know how much a member of Parliament earns and how many privileges they have creates much debate in Mozambican society. Since this is an exchange of experience, I would like to know from the mover and countries here presented, what are the experience in your countries and which is the feedback? Has the powers of member of Parliament, we would like to know as well whether you parliaments monitor the budgets of the judicial power, since members of Parliament should monitor all public accounts. Lastly, we have this situation of non-governmental organization which have come to the fore, to some extent overshadowing political parties. What is your experience of coexisting between political parties and these non-governmental organizations? We want to ask you for your experience regarding this point. Thank you for your kind attention.
Honorable from Mozambique, any other contribution? Any right honorable speaker who can answer for me the question from Honorable Amos on political party indiscipline? Right honorable speakers, if you can share your experiences in your countries on how members of different political parties are utilizing these privileges. Actually, not all members, but the unruly members of political parties, different political parties in your countries. How are they using these privileges, powers, and immunities? If you could share that experience, and we also appreciate or incorporate your experiences in our countries, it will be very good. Any other contribution? Yes, let me start with the right honorable speaker here, then you will be next.
Good morning.
My marvelous right honorable speaker.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, honorable speakers. Good morning, honorable members of Parliament. One of the best mornings that the Lord has given us, to thank Him for the peaceful sleep and the tranquility that we continue to enjoy in the Republic of Rwanda. And in Rwanda we say, Murakazi Neza. That means welcome to this marvelous KICC. In Zambia, I don't know, I haven't seen any honorable member from Zambia here today, since we came. In Zambia, there's one of the tribes is called Bemba. And one of the expressions that they normally say is, it goes like, Obukulu bwemkoko masako. Simply put, the weight of the chicken is determined by the number of feathers it has. When you are a speaker, we expect you to be very tolerant. We expect you to be very patient. And over and above, we expect you to be fatherly. The example that Honorable Masondo speaks about, the speakers at the Parliament of the Republic of South Africa have continued to show their patience on the radical concerned party. I have normally seen it on TV, SABC 1, SABC 2, SABC 3. But the speakers have continued to say, please behave, please behave. And this is what we expect from all of us. Because they are doing it on purpose, in order to disturb the processes of Parliament, the procedures of Parliament. And as members of the CPA, we need to know that, I nearly quoted one of our standing orders back at home, the standing order 5.1 subsection A, B, and C. It says one of the responsibilities that the Speaker has got to do is that you need to protect the rights of the minorities. This particular group that Honorable Masondo talks about, it's a minority that we need to protect. But that does not exonerate us from saying enough is enough. And when we say enough is enough, we do not have to behave like them. We need to show our fatherly position. We need to rise above all this and say Parliament is an august house that we expect level-headedness. And this is what I expect all of us to do back at home, honorable members. We need to be exemplary. We need to be mature. We need to show maturity over and above. We need to show resilience. And I take this time, Mr. Facilitator, to thank the honorable member from the Republic of Tanzania. Thank you, honorable member. You have told us about what happens at your parliament. Partly that's what we do at home. Members must enjoy their rights without any disturbances. And members must also know that where they are right, somebody else's rights begin to continue. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Right Honorable. There was a delegate in that corner.
Thank you, Chairman of the session. Right Honorable Speakers, I have appreciated the good ideas expressed by the mover from Tanzania, and I'm going to share with you the experience of Rwanda when it comes to enjoy parliamentary privilege. And of course, when we talk of parliamentary privilege, it goes with immunities. And these go with the provisions of the Constitution, because we have privilege, but on the other side we have obligations, and it is very important. I've forgotten to tell you my name. I am Professor Niyomugawa Cyprian, a senator from the Parliament of Rwanda. Now, when you look at the Constitution of the Republic of Rwanda, Article 68, it refers to immunity of members of Parliament and their prosecution. And in this, it is saying that no member of Parliament may be prosecuted, pursued, arrested, detained, or judged for his or her opinion, expressed or vote caused in the exercise of his or her duties. The article goes on saying no member of Parliament suspected of a foreigner or misdemeanor may be prosecuted or arrested without the authorization of the chamber of which, because in Rwanda we have Senate and Parliament and Chamber of Deputies, so of the chamber of which he or she is a member by a 2/3 majority vote of members present, unless he or she is caught red-handedly committing a felony or a misdemeanor. In the case of Parliament, Parliament is in recess, an extraordinary session is convened for this purpose. Any member of Parliament definitely convicted of a felony or misdemeanor automatically loses his or her parliamentary office. Each member of Parliament, through the organic law determining its function, may provide for gross misconduct, and these organic laws are there, which may lead to the removal from office of a member of Parliament, that chamber upon approval of its members. In that case, the decision for removal is taken by a 35th majority vote of members of the concerned chamber. That's why, Chairman, when you look at the organic law of the Chamber of Deputies or Senate, there is a provision of an article which is showing how this must be followed. For example, when you look at the organic law establishing the organic law of Senate, you found that it is provided a committee in charge of assessment of the Senate's activities, Senators' conduct, and immunity. And this committee is independent, but it must give a report to the plenary session of the Senate. So that is to say, Chairman, that in the Parliament of Rwanda, we enjoy those privileges and immunity, but referring to what my colleague said yesterday, one of our choice is accountability. When it is to respond to this, the law is applied. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doctor, for the wonderful contribution. I will leave it to the mover to respond, or to build on that. Any other contribution, honorable delegates? Yes, there's a delegate behind.
Thank you, Program Director. Because I'm the speaker, I don't simply assume the role of speaking before I get the recognition, because I have to maintain order. Thank you very much, Program Director, and I think much has been said, but it will not be proper if I do not say the following to my dear friend from Tanzania, to say asante mheshimiwa mjumbe. Asante. The contribution that you've made, Honorable, and of course the extent to which you extrapolated the areas that concern the subject at hand, that was very relevant and provided the baseline for us to engage thoroughly. There's a question that was asked by the chairperson of the National Council of Provinces to all of us, and I would have loved to hear what kind of the country experiences insofar as the pertinent question that Honorable Masondo has asked. The reason for that, Program Director and the chairperson of the session, is that I said yesterday, I think I intimated that one of the sessions in the National Parliament of South Africa during a State of the Nation address, where the honorable members, they are still honorable, regardless of how they behave, because that is the title that they enjoy. They sang until the session had to collapse, and singing throughout. And that was very peculiar in the history of our parliamentary democracy. And this is because the Powers and Privileges Act of South Africa, which was enacted and accented to by the President of the Republic in 2004, protects the members of parliament from being arrested in the precinct, from persecution as a result of what they say inside the House and the chambers. And they enjoy the same privileges and powers as the head of state in the chamber itself. So you can say as you wish and however you so wish, the rights are equal, so we are protected, which is a very fundamental and an inalienable right in terms of what we should promote and, of course, advance. And over and above that, in South Africa, we have the institutions that support and promote democracy and advance democracy, which we call Chapter 9 institutions. They are part of the Constitution, entrenched in the Constitution. One of those, Program Director, is the Auditor General of South Africa, the Commission for Gender Equality, the Electoral Commission, the Public Protector, which those who follow the politics in South Africa, you may know of this very important institution, the South African Human Rights Commission, the Commission for Promotion and Protection of the Rights of Cultural, Religious, and Linguistic Communities. Gender equality. Now we are equal. How do you deal with a member who abuses that right in the House? Protected by the Constitution, protected by the role and the work that must be done by the institutions advancing and supporting democracy. So I would love us to respond to this question as something that we could take out of this conference, Program Director, to say, how do you deal with riot in the chamber? Do you arrest and then go against the Constitution? What do you do? Do you shambog them? What do you do? Do you grab them out of the chamber, which then you violate the Constitution, despite the fact that they are violating the rights of other members? So I thought it's a very unique situation that the chair of the National Council of Provinces, Honorable Masondo, was advancing, trying to understand how the other countries, other parliaments are responding. I'm talking to the speakers, presiding officers who are seated here. Do you simply keep quiet and adjourn, suspend, collapse your own session, thereby putting the entire country to a point of a deadlock because you can't pass a budget or you cannot deliver a state of the nation to the country, to the citizens, to our partners in the diplomatic corps, the international community? What do you do? Our hands are tied. So thank you very much. That's my contribution, Program Director.
Thank you, Speaker. I can see one more hand. I think my eyes are right.
Mr. Chairperson and mover of the motion, I am Senator Abba Moro, a Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Like I said yesterday, I represent the Deputy President of the Senate of Nigeria, himself a presiding officer. And I think it is pertinent at this point that I share a little of the Nigerian experience in terms of parliamentary privileges and powers, of course symbolized by the level of immunity that parliamentarians enjoy in the course of the duties. And I want to state here that by relevant provisions of the Nigerian Constitution, several privileges and powers are enshrined to protect the parliamentarian in the course of the performance of his duties. Perhaps because of our common history, there is immunity that parliamentarians in Nigeria enjoy in the course of their duties in the chambers. But outside the chambers, they are not precluded from investigation and prosecution on all issues, especially civil and criminal matters. But we also have self-regulating acts and parliamentary acts in Nigeria that protects and provides for such privileges and powers. For instance, we have the Legislative Houses Power and Privileges Act of 2017 as amended, which provides in addition to the constitutional provisions for enormous powers and privileges of the parliamentarian. Just like I said yesterday too, in the course of retooling our system, given the dynamism that our system experiences and the society, the Nigerian Parliament has various institutions, especially the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, which provides up-to-date knowledge for parliamentarians in the course of their duties. Of course, the National Assembly, the House of Representatives in Nigeria too, has formulated some level of ethical conduct, codes of conduct for members in the realization that immunities definitely cannot be absolute, because it becomes necessary that if you are overseeing matters and enjoy immunity and you are the watcher of the system, the implementer of the regulations of the system, it becomes necessary to know who else can regulate your own conduct. Otherwise, you go towards some levels and it becomes an abuse of privileges and powers of the legislator. And that is why we have copious provisions in our legal system for the regulation of the actions of the parliamentarian. But I want to say that, having said that, given that you have some little variations here and there, even as I said yesterday, it becomes necessary that we must provide a common legal framework. That is the only way that what we are doing here becomes very germane. Because if we have divergent approaches to legislative functions in our various countries, again, even in the area of privileges and immunities, it means coming here to share common experiences will no longer be relevant. But I think that as a Commonwealth of Nations, especially in the African sector, and given the level of development of our democracies, this body has a responsibility of providing the procedure for establishing commonalities in our approach to especially issues of immunities, privileges, and power. As I submit, Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you, Senator Abba. That was a very good observation. I believe the Secretariat has picked that. We need to move to a common network, a common platform to enhance our collaboration of different parliaments within our region. It's a very important issue to look at now and in future. Any other contributions? Yes, there's a hand right there.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Mine is a contribution. It's not a question. Normally, privileges go with obligations. Rights go with responsibilities.
Introduction, right, Honorable.
I'm so
Honorable.
sorry. I'm called Tengera Francesca, MP, Rwanda Parliament, and Chairperson CWP, Rwanda and East Africa. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My comment is, normally privileges go with obligations, rights go with responsibilities. We are lawmakers. When we go to the parliament and we start fighting, we start quarreling, we start beating each other, abusing each other, what do we expect from the people we represent? How do they see us? They think we have excessive rights without obligations. We go to them, we request them to elect us, to send us to the parliament. We tell them we shall represent them properly. Whom do we represent? Fighters in the streets, or represent proper people? We should then not be tied. We should provide articles in the rules of procedures that prevents such activities in our parliaments. That's the contribution. We should not fight. We should not show the public that sent us to the parliament the other side because we have the rights. We should think of the obligations. We should think of the responsibilities that go with the privileges we are accorded or we accord to ourselves. If we accord the privileges, then we should think of the responsibilities to the public, even to the other arms of the state. We work with them. I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Francisca. Any other response? I still have 15 minutes, so I have an opportunity to give 5 more minutes. Right, Honorable.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker and Chairperson of the session. I'm Noreen Cluster, the Speaker of the Non-Cape Provincial Legislature in South Africa. My contribution, Honorable Chairperson and Speaker, is I'm thinking about we are taking an oath when we are starting with a new administration in South Africa. And one of the oath that we are taking is that we declare that we will act in the best interests of the people of the country. So my question then is that if we are messing up Parliament is the highest institution where laws needs to be made to protect the citizens of the country, what is it that we're doing? Do we really then act in the best interest of the citizens of the country? But also, Honorable Chairperson, as speakers and presiding officers, also may be very important to note that we do have the right to protect the rights of all members in Parliament. But the question is still then, what about the responsibilities of the members of Parliament? Because before one becomes a speaker, you are first a member of Parliament. All of us is having responsibilities and we need to uphold the responsibilities. But also the misuse and abuse of our rules, our privileges and our immunities. We are misusing our privileges as it suits us. And as the former speaker have already alluded to, at the end of the day, my third question will also be then, can our citizens, those that we are representing, can they really take us serious? When every time when we are having a sitting, when we are opening our parliament, the president can't proceed with business of the day because of some political parties wants to hold the whole parliament ransom. And I think that somewhere, somehow, we will have to look into what is it, although there is a protection for members of parliament, but something needs to be done because we can't move on in a democratic state whereby we allow all members of parliament to execute their rights. I believe that presiding officers and speakers also have rights, and that is what we must implement. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Right Honorable. Right Honorable Speakers, presiding officers, and delegates, I want us to close the discussion at this point, and we give the mover, our honorable colleague representing the Republic of Tanzania, time to wrap up all the points we've raised in the discussions or experiences we've shared. Honorable Azam, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you very much, members of the plenary, for your contributions and your questions, which have been answered by members in the room. There's only one important thing. Each house has its rules. Each house has its rules. And these rules are passed by the Parliament, and all MPs have to agree to these rules. During my experience as a presiding officer, and normally when we had a lot of, about 35% of opposition parties in our Parliament, I had one thing that was guiding me: firmness and fairness. You get out of the line on rules in the Parliament, I give you a yellow card. I give you a second yellow card. You carry on with your nuisance, I give you a red card, and you go out of the Parliament. And this is how we should be doing our business. In our rules, no members of the Parliament can have any malicious attack to the President of the country or a fellow MP in the House. We do not allow this nonsense. No member of the Parliament will be allowed to aggrieve a citizen outside the Parliament, accusing them for any wrongdoing without having sufficient evidence. That citizen, by the rules of the House, are entitled to write to the Speaker and given the right to be heard. And if that MP will be found guilty, action will be taken to him. It is obvious that no legislative assembly will be able to discharge its duties with efficiency or assure its independence and dignity unless it has adequate power to protect itself and its members and officials of the exercise of the functions. This does not give us powers to abuse other pillars of the government. The Parliament must have an obligation to work with the executive and the judiciary for the smooth running of our nations. Thank you very much, Chairman, and I thank members of this August House for your timely contribution and knowledge, which some I will take back home to exercise in our Parliament. Thank you very much. Asante sana.
A round of applause to Right Honorable Musa Azan Zungu, MP from the Parliament of Tanzania. Thank you so much for that wonderful contribution, insight in the topic of this session. Right Honorable members, presiding officers, and delegates who are here, we all agree that these rights, privileges are very relevant. At least most countries agree to that. But as contributors from Nigeria, Rwanda, Uganda, and other countries agree that these rights are not absolute, and even the move actually. These rights are not absolute. Yes, use them right for freedom of speech, for checking the executive, but do not use them to break the existing laws or the organic law. I want one more time to ask you for a big hand clap to our mover of the motion as we close this session. Thank you, Right Honorable Musa, as it goes back to take his seat. Finally, we conclude with requesting the Secretariat. I want to take this opportunity, of course, as the chair of the session. Before I ask the Secretariat, I want to take this opportunity to thank the Right Honorable Speaker of the Parliament of Rwanda for hosting us, or giving us an opportunity to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation, hosting, and all. But at the same time, I want to take this opportunity to request the Secretariat to look at the issue of having a common platform for all parliaments under the CPA Association to see how best we can always share these experiences on a common platform. We only need to we don't have to keep coming and then discussing, and we don't have a common platform for these ideas and experiences. Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speakers, presiding officers, and delegates for your time and a chance to allow me to chair the session. Thank you so much.
Honorable Speakers and the presiding officers, distinguished delegates, the discussion on parliamentary powers and immunities concludes our topics for discussion. We will take a 30-minute break to allow the resolution committee to fine-tune and finish up what is before them, so that by the time we are here at 11:30, the chairperson of that committee will take, the floor really to walk members through the various resolutions before they are officially adopted by this conference. So let's stretch up, let's go for tea. Tea will be served. You will be ushered to where tea will be served. And let's remember really to be here at 11:30 sharp, so that we can finish up the last segment of our program. Thank you so much.